now. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, good
at the
evening.
desk, Brooke.
And welcome to the town board meeting. Can you please stand for the pledge of flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good evening. Okay, first on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of February 28th, 2024, minutes of the regular meeting of the town board? So moved. And seconded?
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye.
We'll have to,
Okay. Okay, and it was just a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting, and that was carried. And it was Sue that motioned? Okay. And bid openings, we don't have any openings this evening. Public hearings, we have a public hearing on March 27th, 2024, 6 p.m. A special permit application to operate a commercial recreation venue in the Industrial District, 2220 Vesta Road, BCTM number 158.09-1-16. Okay, and just for the supervisors' updates, first of all, I want to thank the school superintendent, school board, and all of the people, those people helping us with our tech tonight. I really appreciate the school board and the superintendent allowing us to have our meeting here this evening. And I think, Sue, you had a few.
so before we start, our privilege of the floor.
Did you want to do the school announcements?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Okay, we have some information that we would like everyone to have. The exits to the building, or to exit the building, are at the back. If you can't get out those doors, they're marked on the sides. We will exit out to the sidewalk and out to the parking lot. We have 2 opportunities to speak on agenda items throughout the course, or on items throughout the course of the meeting. Residents will have an opportunity to speak on agenda items only at the beginning of the meeting. The resident must state their name and confirm that they are a resident of the town of Estill. Each speaker will only be afforded 1 opportunity to speak. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Residents will have an opportunity to speak on town topics at the end of the meeting. The resident must state their name and confirm that they are a resident of the town of Estill. Each speaker will only be afforded 1 opportunity to speak. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. We ask, therefore, that no one speak throughout other parts of the agenda so that we're able to get to the agenda items. And we're very happy that everyone's here tonight. The Vestal Town Board believes that public comment is an essential element of effective government, and we encourage the public to share their opinions, voice their concerns, and offer suggestions in a constructive atmosphere that will help us to better serve the town. So thank you for coming tonight.
Okay, and just a couple of announcements. So, thank you, Sue, by the way. We, at the town, we have a number of vacancies. So if you yourself would be interested, or if you know of somebody who would be interested, they are publicized already. We have 3 openings. One is a human resources position, and it's a part-time position. The controller also needs somebody. And these are vacancies that have occurred because people have left for various reasons. The controller needs an account payable specialist, and our IT person, Dan Williams, needs an assistant. So we need an IT person as well. All the details are on the website, and it tells you how you can apply for the job. Or if you know of somebody that might be looking, please advise them to go to the website so they could apply as well. And Comprehensive Plan Committee. we are, as you know, hopefully you're aware, we are setting up a comprehensive plan committee, and that committee will help to guide us and set a vision for the Vestal to come. So it will start to look at where businesses might be advisable or enhanced, where residences might be built or expanded. It will also look at the possibility of solar, where it would be advisable and where it would not be advisable. So it's a really important committee that will help us to look at each project as they go through while they're doing the whole thing. It is a commitment for well over a year. It is a lot of work. We have about 16 volunteers so far, and I want to thank those volunteers very much because I know it's a huge commitment of time and effort, but everybody that I've spoken to, they're so invested in ensuring that we make Vestal a really great place and even better than it is today, and that we do everything in a positive way for all our residents. So we have hard copies. Thank you, Steve. We have hard copies available if you might be interested yourself or if you know of somebody who might. We will be sitting down again. We've sat down twice to try to consider it, but we've heard that more people want to apply, and we want to give everybody the opportunity to do so. So we have hard copies tonight. If you go to the website, you can go, there's an online way that you can do it as well, and it gets submitted automatically. So please, if you are interested and you want to have a say and you would like to look at the new projects coming in and help us to ensure that they are appropriate for our residents and for our area and they're going to bring good things to our community, please consider taking part or please pass it along to somebody who might. The last thing is we are going to date and time to be announced. We're trying to figure it out. The Bun Hill Housing Project, which has been in the courts for a long time, we are going to have a public discussion, informational meeting specifically on that topic. So please look at the website if you're interested in going. We will be putting it out there as soon as we can determine a time and a date. But we want to hear what you have to say, but we also want to give you all the facts and where we are at this point in time. So please look for that on the website. And other than that, that's all I have to add for that section. Okay, so we'll move on to the privilege of the floor. Again, these are agenda, as Councilwoman Messina just said, this first section is agenda items only. And if you would like to speak, to ask a question or to make a comment, please, there was a microphone there. Oh, the microphone is right over there. Please step up and just tell us your name and that you're a Vestal resident or you aren't. Okay. Okay. Would anybody like to speak? Nobody? Mm-hmm.
John Fletcher, 73 Andrews Road, Vestal resident. Supervisor Sexton, I see that there is a discussion on tonight's agenda with regards to approving a grant writer. Not that I'm in disagreement with a grant writer, as it could potentially bring value. What I struggle with is, since we're in such a financial crisis, how can we justify spending $45,000 for a grant writer when that dollar amount could potentially fund at least one active duty SRO?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. So we thought long and hard about it and we discussed it as a town board. Grant writers are invaluable because the grants that they write bring unbelievable amounts of, if we're successful, and sometimes it's not the first year, but the second year as well, it brings money into the town. So it brings money for different kinds of funding, different projects. So it helps to defray the cost of projects that we will do anyway, but it would also open up the opportunity to projects that we might not be able to afford. So hopefully better things as well. But grant writers more than anything pay for themselves. we thought about hiring a full-time person, but they're very hard to find. And consultants, the gentleman that we're considering tonight comes very highly recommended, has tons of references, and has a skill ability for many years that is really what we need. And it's cost efficient because hiring the consultant at $45,000 a year is less expensive than it would be to hire an individual person and much more flexible for us. So we're trying to get the maximum amount of money with the least cost expended, but it's an investment on how we go forward. Thank you again for your comment. Okay, does anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, we have one more? Oh, sorry.
Greg Sarkissian, Vestal resident. Follow up on that question that John Fletcher just had. I didn't see anywhere in the documents that was presented at the work session where there's a contract on this. And you're about to do a resolution to sign a contract. Has the attorney reviewed this contract? And what are the terms of this contract? What are the benefits that we're getting? I understand you can do it on a per grant basis, and we're doing it on a lump sum basis. I don't understand. Were there other contractors that were solicited? You said it's highly recommended that this person through other districts. How do we know? We've seen nothing except something that was brought up in the work session with no documentation.
Okay, I'll explain a little bit of, he came, just as you know, the grant writer, grant consultant, came to our work session and answered our questions and explained everything, including the contract. We do have copies of the contract. It should have been scanned in, but if it isn't, we'll make sure that it goes online as well. So his proposal, and it's all in writing, along with an invoice if we decide to vote for it. So he would work for the town for 10 to 16 hours a week for an entire year. He would go, and that time would entail going and interviewing our department heads to assess and get the specs on whatever projects they would like, and then going and doing all of the the writing for the grants that we might be interested in. So whatever projects we would like to put in for to get funded, he would do all the original writing, and he would also do all the follow-up paperwork. So if you've ever been involved with grants, it's not just the original grant that needs to be written, but it's a tremendous amount of follow-up paperwork that needs to be done as well. So he would do both for us. We do have a wonderful person working for the town, Charisse, and she does grant writing, but she also handles the museum in its entirety. So she does grant writing for the museum. She helps us with grant writing for this. She's absolutely wonderful, but it's way too much. What we're hoping to do is way too much work for her by herself. So she will be working with the grant writer if we approve them today. The specifics very much is those amount of hours. He gave the example of that's the exact contract that another town had, and he was able to do 6 grant proposals, which are very long and complicated if anybody's tried to write one. He wrote 6 for them, and then followed up on 3 huge projects, which entails an incredible amount of paperwork and follow through. But he also every month would detail his hours and how he spends it, so that we know on what he's doing and that he's doing what he's supposed to do. So if you have any follow-up questions, I'll be glad to answer after the meeting. Okay? Okay, any other questions or comments on the agenda items?
My name is Patty Fitzgerald, Vestal residents. I want to know, are we still thinking about having another police chief here in the town of Vestal? I see that's under public safety. Can you,
I'm sorry, Ms. Fitzgerald. I apologize. I really can't hear you.
can you please tell us whether or not the board is still considering having another police chief in the town of Vestal?
Okay, you can, once again, Ms. Messina had outlined we're only taking agenda items in the beginning, but I'll be glad to answer it when we get to that section, if that's okay. Any other questions or issues on the agenda items before we move forward? If you have questions or comments on any other things, there is a section at the end. Be happy to talk to you then on those, okay? Okay. So then, we'll move on to resolutions in a moment. Was there somebody else? Oh, I apologize, Ms. Fitzgerald. I do apologize. I forgot it was on the agenda. So let me address it now. Can I ask you to repeat your full question so I make sure that I don't miss anything? Ma'am? Yeah. Yeah, I apologize. Forgive me.
I just wanted to know, is the board still considering for the town of Vestal to have 2 police chiefs?
We're going to have the vote now. We'll have to wait for the vote. Can we then comment it at the end, because we have to have the vote finalizing what's on the agenda, and then we could speak to it afterwards. Would that be okay?
Got it.
Okay. Okay, then let's move on. So, Public Works. Steve, would you like to start with that? I'm sorry? Yeah, there were no other. Yeah, just on the agenda. We'll do the other ones at the end of the meeting. We'll have to follow up on that one as well. Okay, so Steve, did you want to start?
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? All right, there we go. 8.1.1, request from Scott Groats, Water and Wastewater Superintendent, for the town board to approve listing with Auctions International 2 water department vehicles as follows. A 2016 Ford F-150, VIN number 1FTFX1EF5GFC32285, mileage 69,218 miles. And then also a 2016 Ford F-150, VIN number 1FTFX1EF3GFC32284, mileage 56,504.
Okay. Okay. Motion to approve?
I'll second it. Is that his motion?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And all in favor? Aye. So that's carried. And Ms. Messina? You okay?
Finance, 9.1.1, request from Jessica Farley, Deputy Comptroller, for approval of a budget amendment to transfer $1,500 from school and other rentals line A7310-4251 to printing line A7310-4160 to cover the unexpected increase in the cost of printing.
Okay, motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconded?
Seconded.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's carried. And next?
9.1.2, request for a bond resolution authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the purchase of maintenance equipment for the Parks Department in and for the town of Vestal, Broome County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $113,900, and authorizing the issuance of $113,900 bonds of said town to pay the costs thereof.
Thank you. And that covers a large area mower and a swivel tank truck buggy, sorry. So motion to approve?
So moved.
And seconded?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And it's carried.
9.1.3, request for a bond resolution authorizing the purchase of Parks Department maintenance equipment in and for the town of Vestal, Broome County, New York, at a maximum estimated cost of $24,000, and authorizing the issuance of $24,000 bonds of said town to pay the cost thereof.
Thank you. And that covers a mower, basically, and a large area blower, which saves, basically does the work. One person can do the work in a couple of hours, what it would take two people the time to do an entire day. So it's a cost-saving device. So,
So I'll make that motion.
thank you. And seconded?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And it's carried.
Authorization by the town board to pay $50 for the 2024 annual Broome County Association of Towns membership dues.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So
And seconded?
seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
And it's carried. Okay, planning, there's personnel. Glenn, did you have anything for personnel? There's nothing on the-
Nothing at personnel this time.
Thank you. So we move on to planning and zoning. Robert, do you have anything on?
Yes. 11.1.1, authorization for Vestal Little League to hold their opening day parade on Saturday, April 20th at 9 a.m. The league is requesting to have their parade staging area be in the town hall, water department parking lots, with the parade route down Front Street, crossing over Main Street, as well as Clayton Avenue. The league will be working with the police department for the support that is needed with road closures and traffic control during the parade. In the case of inclement weather, they are requesting Sunday, April 21st, 2024 as an alternate date. If the parade is unable to take place due to pool construction, they request to use the library's parking lot for the same dates.
Thank you. Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
And seconded? Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and it's carried. Okay, next one?
11.1.2, request from Vern Myers, town engineer, for authorization for the supervisor to sign the agreement with Broome County for payment by county for their portion of the work done at the Vestal Road, Sycamore Road intersection associated with the Vestal Rail Trail project.
Okay, very good. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And seconded?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it's carried. Okay, public safety? Sue?
12.1.1, request to recall and rescind Resolution 2024-47, authorizing the appointment of Christopher Strino to the position of police chief effective February 29, 2024. Such appointment was based on the understanding the police chief position will be vacant due to the retirement of Police Chief Stace Kittner. Chief Kittner has withdrawn his retirement application and will not be retiring. Therefore, there will be no vacancy. I make that motion.
Okay, thank you. And motion?
Seconded.
And, well, who makes the original motion? Okay, and seconded, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes. Carried unanimously.
12.1.2, request to recall and rescind Resolution 2024-48, waiving the residency requirement for Christopher Strino to serve as police chief. I make that motion.
And seconded?
I'll second it.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. And it's carried.
12.1.3, request to rescind Resolution 2024-31, authorizing the appointment of Christopher Strino to the position of police chief effective February 29, 2024. Such appointment was based on the understanding the police chief position would be vacant due to the retirement of Police Chief Stace Kittner. Chief Kittner has withdrawn his retirement application and will not be retiring. Therefore, there will be no vacancy. I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 And it's unanimous.
12.1.4, request to rescind Resolution 2024-32, waiving the residency requirement for Christopher Strino to serve as police chief. I make that motion.
Seconded.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's carried. Okay, and then we move on to administration. Glenn?
So 13.1.1, authorization for Patrick Harnan, Recreation Planner, to hire summer camp directors. All employee pay rates are budgeted items in the 2024 budget, and the background checks have been completed. The rates and start dates are identified in his memo dated March 7, 2024, which is included in the addendum. The staff include the directors for baseball clinics, cheerleader camp, lacrosse camp, and a variety of other camps happening in the summer that have already been approved by the board as far as the budget is concerned. So, motion to approve?
So moved.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And it's carried. Yeah. Mhm. Okay.
So I do these?
Under Receive and File, we have warrants 2024, 08, 08A, 08B, 10, 10A. There are all bills that have been paid, routine expenses. And we have also received and filed Town Clerk's monthly report for February.
Thank you. Okay, can I have a motion? Motion to accept.
So moved.
Seconded?
Seconded.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And it's carried. Okay, we don't have any petitions and protests. We don't have any old business. Okay, and new business is 16.11, authorization for the sound supervisor to sign a one-year agreement with WCP Consultants to provide grant writing consultant services to the town of Vestal. The annual contract will be based on 12 to 16 hours per week, and the fee will be $45,000, which will consist of a down payment of $11,250 and 12 monthly payments of $2,812.50. Motion.
I'd like to motion to table this for further discussion. Only reason being is I just want to, not that I'm against the grant writing, but I feel like we haven't looked at all the options and we only have one person that we really realistically talk to. So I'd like to maybe see a few other options if possible.
Okay, is there a second? And all in favor of tabling? Okay, so it's, okay, okay, so then we're tabling it. Okay. And so then we move on to 16.12, the request for Patrick Harmon, Recreation Planner for the Recreation Department, to partner with the Vestal Youth Football League for the first year of a co-ed summer flag football camp the week of July 8th. The VYFL will supply the coaches and equipment. The town would take the camp revenue into the expense line to pay for the T-shirts and the end of camp party. So motion?
So moved.
And seconded?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's carried. The next one is 16.13, request from Patrick Harnan, Recreation Planner, for town board approval to accept an $880 donation from Chris Mooser for the first year's operation of a new summer wrestling camp. The donation will cover labor, expenses, and insurance for the 2024 camp. The money will be split with $400 into line item A7310.1045, and the remaining $480 going to line item A7310.4314. And motion?
So moved.
And seconded?
Seconded.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And I
Aye.
would just like to say thank you to Chris Musser for that donation.
Yes. Okay, the next one is 16.14, authorization to sell a code department vehicle, a 2008 Ford Ranger, VIN number 1FTYR15E78, PA 86008, mileage 45,271. The vehicle was sold as is, condition on March 12, 2024 via auction, international for $7,000. Motion? Can I
So
have a
moved.
motion? And seconded? All in favor? Aye. And it's carried. Okay, we have a few supervisors' announcements, just a regular announcements. The winter parking rules, even though the beautiful weather is out, the winter parking rules are still in place and will last through March 31st. Parking of vehicles is prohibited on all town and country roads in Vestal between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. And also, thank you very much to Trees for Tributaries, T4T initiative. Trees for Tributaries is a statewide effort to reforest New York's tributaries, small creeks and streams that flow into larger rivers and lakes. By planting trees and shrubs along these waterways, the total number of trees and shrubs that have been planted in Vestal Park since 2021 through Trees for Tributaries program has been 1,198 stems. This number includes the original plantings, plus any replants that were completed this past fall. So we want to thank also Craig Hiller, who is our Highway Department Superintendent and our Parks Department Director as well, for the amazing job that he does with this. Okay, so then we move on to,
Maria, what about the burn ban?
oh, the burn ban? You want to do it? Go ahead.
That starts on March
you.
15th. I believe that goes till April 15th. I may have to get confirmation.
May 15th.
Oh, sorry, yeah, May 15th. Thank you. I was more concerned about when it started so that we're not having anyone causing brush fires. I'll make
Yeah.
sure that was out there.
Thank you very much. And that's really important because obviously the fire started really quickly. And even though we've had a lot of rain lately, it can turn very quickly as well. Okay. Did I miss everything good? Okay, so then we are going on to, okay, so we'll take the next part then. Okay, so public questions and discussion. Once again, the reminder, please, if you can keep it relatively short and one at a time, and please go up to the microphone if at all possible. Okay, does anybody a question or a comment on anything?
Thank you for the new open government. I'm really enjoying all of this, so being able to come to a meeting, hear everything that is said, something that has never happened in the prior administration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I know we really appreciate it.
Can I just remind people
Yeah.
that we need your name and
Yeah.
your town of residence?
Brenda Morrissey, Vestal, New York.
Great, thank you, Brenda.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Despite the technical errors, we're really trying. And for those, hopefully, if you're here tonight, we are videotaping everything, and we put everything up on the website. If you have any questions or issues, you can always email any of us direct, and we'll do our best to answer them as well. We're doing our best to be both transparent and responsive, and it's going to be a work in progress, but I think we're on a good path. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Yes. We have another one over there. Do you want to go up to the microphone maybe? Yeah. Or... Thank you.
How you doing? Bill Stewart, business owner, resident of Vestal. Just want to say first by starting that meeting might get a little heated, and if it does, don't forget that a nice cool ice cream will cool you down. What I want to say tonight is I don't want to make it political. Actually, oh, is that better? Okay, I don't want to make this political. What I have to ask is not political. I just want the truth on something. I've heard a lot of rumors about it, so I need to ask the truth on it. I know that the new administration, you ran on openness, which means everything was transparent, is what you said. Glenn Miller, you in fact said that there would be nothing hidden from the public. Multiple times you said that. So my question to you is, all of you, and I'm not going to say a name, but my question is I was told by multiple people that there was a board member that accessed the secured secretary's office without authorization, accessed file cabinets that were locked. The reason they did this was to affect a court case with the town of Vestal. They went and talked to the dog officer and tried to get that person to change their testimony. This person was then taken into court in front of a judge and reprimanded by the judge for tampering with a witness. The court case was then sealed, so nobody can see it. So I can't see it. This is just what I've heard. And I'm not calling out a person because I don't know. So I will ask you, Stephen Donnelly, did this happen?
I was in the courtroom, and yes, it did happen.
Rob, did this happen?
I'm not aware of it from a direct standpoint.
From
I've
a
only
direct
heard
but
about it.
indirect?
I've only heard about it indirect.
Maria?
Well, from my perspective, and I do know what happened, is that there was a misunderstanding between the town board member who had spoken to the town lawyer, and they misunderstood each other. And we then corrected it, and we have to move forward. So
How did the codes get given to this person under a misunderstanding?
the code was not given to the person.
So they just walked into the office, into the file cabinets. That's how that happened?
Once again, it was a misunderstanding that was corrected, and nobody will ever touch any files again, except for the town lawyer and one authorized person, which is his assistant.
And that's the same with the dog officer, the person went and they talked to him, that was a mistake too?
Well, I don't know what happened in that in the whole case.
Okay.
I only know specifics of that. So, yeah, it's been addressed. It's been, it's been corrected, and we have to move forward from it. So,
I don't have to move forward from anything. You're mistaken.
okay.
So,
Okay.
you don't get to tell me what I get to do. But here's what I'll tell you. That's a crime. And if it was me and I went before a judge, I'd be in jail. That's a crime. It's against the law. You or none of you people are above the law. You're elected officials. You hold no special power. Not one of you. This is a board of 5 that makes a decision. Not one of you can unilaterally make a decision. Whoever did this should resign from the board. That's your obligation. You took an oath when you took this job. You've broken that oath to the town. It's treasonous almost, right? 100 years ago, they would have hung you in the town square. We don't do that today, but that's what would have happened.
Okay, thank you.
But no, hold on. I got one more thing to say. Please don't do that. You know, a famous saying is, if you have lost your money, you've lost nothing. If you lose your health, you've lost something. But if you lose your character, you've lost everything. You've lost everything.
Thank you. Okay, are there any other, thank you for that. Any other questions or comments?
Hi, Victor Lamro from Bun Hill Road in Vestal. In regards to what he said, I don't know if anybody really knows the truth. I do know previous board members, you know, when somebody in the town reached out for something, the town board member usually says, well, I'll look into that for you. That was a common response from the old administration. I'll look into something for you. I'll get back to you. So, you know, I think there are, you know, people are trying to find facts and help their constituents. And I think that's partly what that might have been about. I don't know if anybody knows what really happened there. But that's not really what I want to talk about tonight. I want to thank this board for actually trying hard to fulfill their campaign promises and to open it up. And on the Bun Hill issue, we were denied multiple bigger venues multiple times. I mean, it was just nope, nope, nope. And people were shut out and not allowed in. So it's nice to see everybody here in the town of Vestal. You know, you guys have moved the meeting times to a time where people can show up. It's better for working people. You know, the minutes are far better than they used to be. Thank you very much, Deborah. They're more detailed. The meeting's recorded, visible for people to review. That's all stuff you promised would happen, and it happened. And, you know, sure, there's some hiccups. You know, there's some rookie mistakes. There's some unforced errors. You know, there's growing pains. It's going to happen. So maybe people can give you guys a little bit of a break and you know, take it with a grain of salt. You're only on the job for 2.5 months. So, you know, I mean, honestly, I watched the previous administration. They'd been in there for quite some time and we're still making mistakes. So, you know, I think we can give you guys a break a little bit, perhaps. But in any case, as most of you also know, I'm a member of Responsible Vestal Zoning, and I heard you talking about a town hall sort of fact-finding mission about the PDD to see what people want to do with that and the rezoning of Bun Hill. And I think that'd be another thing that, you know, you brought up in your campaign. I think it's great that you're going to look into this. Because honestly, the previous board gave no pushback whatsoever on the developer's claims, really basically none. And we're basically totally for the developer. So there's a lot of claims that were just wrong that I would like to see examined. I won't bother you with all those tonight. But, you know, as far as the court cases, that process went on for 5 years, all right? And in the end, the record was substantial and confusing. And yes, the courts said, okay, it's fine to go through. But the people here on the ground know what that process was like. In the past, PDDs were always approved by the planning board, right? And the planning board on many of those PDDs, I think all of them actually did the seeker review. But when the planning board wasn't agreeing to the project, the town board decided to take that out of the planning board's purview, right? Which doesn't seem correct at all. That was a power move on the part of the town.
Victor, your time is up. Can you?
Oh, I didn't know there was time. Nobody said there was
It's
time.
3 minutes. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Nobody. Can I just finish this real quick then?
Well, that's what I was going to say. If
Thank
you.
you.
Can just finish.
Yep. All right. So, you know, there's a lot of speculation about things. There's a lot of claims out there people throw out, like BU is going to take over the whole hill. That's not true. That's not true, and we should get the tax money. That's total speculation. There's also a lot of talk about, you know, the town being sued, if this should get repealed. Again, that's for attorneys to look at and figure that out. What's our risk there for real? But I will tell you one risk. The County 239 review, the planning board, everybody stated that putting 700 students in that location on the hill was a danger. Right? The County 239 review said this is a danger. And the town board completely ignored it. They said it's not usable for sidewalks. There can't be sidewalks put in. So we're just not going to worry
really,
about student safety.
Your time is up. You're way beyond the 3
Okay.
minutes.
Okay, but we are gonna have the meeting, and we're gonna address that topic exclusively. Okay.
And I also want to thank you for looking at a comprehensive plan, because that was something that was talked about a lot. It is a lot of work, but nobody else ever wanted to take it up. So thank you for looking into that.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions or comments or? Mhm.
Over there? You?
She's over there. Can't see. She's over there. Sorry. Thank you.
You? Yeah, I'm Cynthia Westerman. I live on Carroll Avenue in Vestal. I've been a Vestal resident for over 50 years now. I have dealt with numerous town boards. I've also been on one of the advisory boards, which I am not speaking for tonight. But I just want to compliment this new administration for trying to do something different. I've heard there are a lot of controversies and people have been raising problems with them. But as somebody said earlier, they need a chance to wet their feet. And maybe they're going to make mistakes for a while, but you have to give them a chance. But I think it's just a breath of fresh air to be able to come to a meeting like this and see all the people in it. The previous administration would never, dealt with them under a lot of conditions. They never would move the meeting out of the town hall. You'd be standing outside or in the hall, and the police would come along, and they'd take too many people, and it was just terribly difficult even to hear what was going on. So I just want to compliment you. I also want to compliment you on the idea of a comprehensive plan. I've heard about that. I feel if the comprehensive plan had been in place, all this controversy about the Bun Hill and everything would not have come up, because that area would have been zoned out of a place where you, or at least I would suspect it would be, and not a place where you put a lot of students in. So I just want to compliment you on what you've done so far, and particularly the things I said, the comprehensive plan and having this meeting in this big room today. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. Does anybody else want to say anything or ask a question or anything? Mhm.
Thank you. Tim Mulvey. I live over on Pickwick Drive, Vestal. I just wanted to comment again on a question that came up earlier that's disturbing to me, especially based on the gentleman over here, the way he so nonchalantly cast this thing off, I thought was inappropriate. The dog incident, I don't know anything about it. It's the first I've heard about it today, the licensing and the trying to influence the testimony of your dog control officer. That is a big deal. If you're just taking office, this new board, and things like that occur, and you cast that off as just a misunderstanding, that's not a misunderstanding. That's a deliberate act, and it should not be tolerated. I've been a police officer for 33 years before I retired, and I'm telling you, that is not a small thing. It may seem that way, but to go in and to get into records and go after the dog control officer, if this in fact occurred, and try to get that officer to change their testimony in court, that needs to be dealt with. And whoever's responsible for that, as was said earlier, the least is their resignation should be submitted. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
Hi, my name is Ellen Eade, and I'm a Vestal resident. So I have attended the last meeting, and we talked about the school resource officer. So I'm really confused, and I'm hoping that maybe you can help me understand. Did we hire 2 people and then just push them into our officer program? And are we actually just paying for 2 additional officers at this point? Secondly, with our grant writing, will there be an opportunity to write a grant for this program as well?
Well, I'll take both questions. So, number one, the 4 officers are staying in place. I just spoke to Cliff this past week, and he proactively said a number of times, he said he's good with 4 for now, and budget time, we'll consider expanding it to the 6 as part of the plan going forward. Is definitely on the table. We just need to figure it into the public budget, because once you start a program, you need to continue it forever, and you need to know that you can pay for it forever. And the second, I'm sorry, the second.
You didn't really answer that first. So we actually just added 2 additional positions that were supposed to go into that summer program. So whether they were budgeted or approved, and we just added 2 extra police officers. Is that correct?
Did you want to?
Let me start out by saying that when you hire the 2 new officers, the 2 new officers have not been police officers before. They have to go to the police academy. They are not the ones that would go into the SRO program. Okay. But I'm just saying that the 2 officers that were hired, irregardless, would not be going into the SRO program. They were to fill patrol in order to promote 2 people.
To answer your question, yes, we added 2 officers.
Okay, and can I address the second part? I would love a grant for it. And if we can find a grant that is appropriate for it, in a heartbeat, that would be one of our highest priorities. So part of the process that we're going to be doing with the grant writer, but I myself am going through and trying to find this different, because it's a learning curve for me. There's different ways for the town to get money, and some of it is, and Sue, you can help me with some of the terms, because Sue and I have been looking into it together. And it is, some comes direct through the politicians, and some comes through specific grants. So there's different ways of funding stuff. If any, we are literally making a list of things we would love to be able to fund through grants or other sources. SRO program is high on our priority. If we can find funding for it, we would love to do that as well. But once again, that's still on the table, and with the budget time, you know, we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about those 2 positions again. But it has to be built into the budget, so we are going to do it. We are going to discuss it, and it will be, you know, it will be a joint effort between us and and I've been meeting the school board members. I think everybody is wonderful. Everybody's on the same page, and we'll do our best to make everything work. Okay. Any other questions or problems? Oh, sorry. Questions or?
April Tice, I am a resident of Vestal. Maria, this is a question for you. It's actually a 3-part question. First question would be, do you know if there are currently any SRO officers available?
I don't know what you mean.
Are there any current SROs available? Have you checked to see if there's a wait list with other school districts for an SRO?
Well, Vestal is a unique program, and we hire our own police officers, and our own police officers are signed for the SRO, so I'm really not clear on what you're saying. We're not going through anybody else. We're not doing retirees. We agreed on that. We heard everything everybody had to say about what you do not want and what you would like, and we're trying to make that happen. So we're not looking to anybody else. We're looking through our own department, we're looking through our own officers, and we're working with the school board in regards.
To be clear, you are not looking for retired, you're not going to use retired police officers for the SRO positions?
We are not.
Okay.
We listened to everything that everybody had to say, and we're doing our best to build it in so that we can put more officers in the program going forward as well.
The gentleman mentioned before that Binghamton University doesn't own a lot of land around Bun Hill area. They own quite a bit. Okay, so my question follows along that, and it goes to every one of you on the board, and supervisor, please answer the question. Have any of you met with anybody at Binghamton University in any kind of discussion regarding them putting student housing anywhere in that area, on their land that they owned around the campus or on the campus? You can start right on this end and go around and say yes or no if you were in a meeting or discussed it with anybody from Binghamton University.
I have not yet been in such a meeting, no.
I have not been in a meeting with Binghamton University.
And I had been in the meeting with Binghamton president and much of his staff, and that was absolutely not discussed, and they did not propose it, did not talk about it. It was not on the spectrum at all. They didn't mention anything about them doing any kind of a program like that. So I think, Robert, it's on you. Or,
We got a letter from Dr. Stringer back in 2021 stating there was no plan to do any work with Pleasant Corridor.
Who's speaking?
Okay, so that's Victory. And once again, if you're gonna, I know you're answering somebody else, but if you could stand up and just make sure we can get the microphone to you. After the last meeting, again, we're trying to do our best. In the last meeting, a lot of people who watched the video said that they couldn't hear the question, so therefore they couldn't understand the answer. So we're trying to do a little bit better in regards.
But let me also say that the commentary is directed toward the board. It's not a question and answer among the public. If you want to discuss it privately, that's fine. But these are specifically questions directed toward the board. Thank you.
Yeah, and also, remember, we're going to have the specific meeting on that project and that issue in its entirety, and exclusively for that meeting. So we can discuss it at that point. Does anybody have any questions or comments about anything else?
Hi, Kim Myers. I'm a Vestal resident, and I applaud you for taking this on. And yes, there have been some missteps. And I think information coming from you, when it's clear and concise, is the best. For example, there was a lot of uproar that I heard about the SRO officers. And I was actually on the Board of Education when we developed the first SRO program with the town of Vestal. Mr. Maczewski, who was part of the board, brought it to us. And this is a collaboration with the school district. And the Vestal one has been a model for everyone else. And I appreciate when I did talk to you, you said that's the model that will stay. And expanding the program, you know, does need to be budgetary considerations as well as for the school district, because the school district pays for part of it as well. And I know, Sue, you're right, but I just had to say, I have talked to Binghamton University. I've looked into this every which way, from a county legislator, from a resident of Vestal, and there is nothing that Binghamton University wants to do with that. The Broome County Transit says it's dangerous in any which way, so there have been discussions, and it's not just been willy-nilly. That this is very unfortunate for Vestal. But applause and kudos for making sure that our SOR program that is so well-renowned and does such a great job in Vestal will stay the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maria, I don't think we ever finished Greg's question there. I think we're still going around.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, I can attest that I have not had any discussions with BU at this time on that subject.
When I first got into office in 2022, I had a meeting with both Darcy, who's the government affairs director for the Binghamton University, in President Stanger's office, along with President Stanger. He had informed me that if a development was not to go there, that he would absolutely put one there. So I stand behind that comment, and at the end of the day, you know, I was sat there and he said that same exact thing, and why wouldn't they? They want the money just as much as private development does. So at the end of the day, you know, I think it's a, you know, that's answers your question, hopefully.
Okay, so we went through all the board members for the fairness for that. However, once again, we're going to have the meeting specifically devoted to that issue. So is there anybody with any questions or comments on any other issue?
I'm sorry, but I think we need Harvey Stinger here because he's lying to one of us, that's for sure. Because he does not plan on doing any student housing there at all, verbatim.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a gentleman up there.
Gotta yell.
We'll get you the microphone. Just.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Colin Gow. I live on Edward Street in Vestal, so I am a Vestal resident, and I guess I have a couple things that I'd like to say. First, regarding the SRO program, and to bounce off what you had mentioned before on looking into a grant, there should be no need to look any further for a grant. The school board offered to pay for half of their salary, and that's not just for 180 days of the year, which is the school year. That's 365 days of the year that they will pay half of their salary. Maybe we should take the money that we're using on our second grant writer instead of the first one and put that towards the other half of the school resource officer. Additionally, regarding, thank you. Thank you. Regarding the Bun Hill project, I guess it doesn't make sense to me, because if you've lived in this area, you've seen that BU is in a competition with the hospital to see who can buy the most tax-free land. They both want it all. And also, they've projected they want to add 5,000 students per year, continuously, indefinitely. If they want to do that, those students need a place to live. Somebody's going to put housing on Bun Hill because you can't get any closer to the BU campus. Why would you be okay with losing $2 million in tax revenue per year to give it up to BU or somebody else who's willing to do it? I think that money should genuinely be used it should be paid in Vestal tax. And I know you're just going to say we have another meeting to address that, but I think it should be said, and I think you should say something about it now.
Okay. Once again, any other topics? We will be discussing it fully at the meeting, so, oh, I'm sorry. We have another gentleman over there. I know he's waiting. We're going to be discussing it at the meeting. We're going to have an entire meeting devoted to the whole issue. Yes.
Thank you. I'm Sean Stewart, 409 Butternut Drive in Vestal. I've lived in Vestal over 70 years, so I've seen a lot of changes in this town. First thing I'd like to say, I'd like to address earlier comment, Mrs. Morrissey, I believe, who complimented, I don't know if she's still here, said it's great to see the openness of the of the town board and the fact that there is openness. And she said, and she talked about something that never happened in a previous administration. There is also something else which never happened in a previous administration or any other previous administrations. There's never been a concern about a court case where the supervisor and the council person has been questioned about this. And I would just like to ask, and I never thought I would ask this question of a school board or a town board or a church group in the town of Vestal. Have you, the supervisor or Councilman Miller, have you been contacted by the district attorney's office, the administrative office of the 6th Judicial District, or the state legal organization? Have you two either of you been contacted or asked questions about what had happened in the court case?
Okay, Mr. Stewart, first of all, I have not been questioned, and I don't know the entirety of the whole situation. I only had discussions as a follow-up to figure out what had happened and how it had occurred and how the misunderstanding had occurred. But that's what but the answer was no. Have not been contacted by any law enforcement whatsoever in regards. So.
Mr. Miller?
I have not been contacted either, and I would defer any other statements to our town lawyer. He would be the point contact for any of that stuff.
Do either of you anticipate being contacted?
No.
No.
Time will tell.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments on other issues?
Oh, I got over here. My name is Mary O'Malley. I live on Maple Street in Vestal. And to that comment and others regarding illegality concerning a dog case, I just want to again commend the board for its openness and to say we don't need people posting online petitions to recall people. That is negative. We don't need people holding news conferences and posting them. That is negative. It is also, excuse me, I have privilege of the floor. That is also negative. It is not constructive, folks. And with regard to the allegations of violations of the law here tonight, I do know that we still have people from the prior administration who are still acting in their positions as town officials, not involving the current newly elected slate. But those people are additionally violating the law. We have a town clerk violating the law. The dog control officer acting under her is violating the law. And it's very possible that the town councilman addressed her in his consultation with her about those violations.
Okay, I'm sorry. We can't have statements like that, making accusations in there. in regards to any town personnel. It's not appropriate for this forum, please. We want to keep this, we want to keep this, we hear the comments that other people are saying. We want to keep everything in an appropriate format and an appropriate voice, so please, because we want to hear you. It's very hard to hear when we want to be able to speak to each other in a way and listen to each other, because I want to hear what you have to say, every single person. So we want to keep this as positive and professional and communicative as possible. So is there anybody with any other,
It sounds as if there's been much discussion with regards to this alleged court case. The one individual that can clear this up tonight is Councilman Miller. He has every right to defend himself and state to the public right here and now in full transparency what took place and why. Otherwise, we will continue to have speculation. People will draw their own perceptions. Cover-up is already out on social media. It's not a misunderstanding, ma'am. This is something that's serious. Each one of you took a sworn verbal and written oath before taking seat in your positions. To betray that oath and betray the trust of your community is egregious. Mr. Miller, do you have a comment that you'd like to share?
If something like that has occurred, if any illegalities have occurred, then it will be up to the courts to make that decision. And I totally feel like if someone has facts to bring to the court and bring a court case, that's what should be done.
So one follow-up then, if this does come out, are you willing to resign given the betrayal to oath?
It depends on what the court finds.
If it comes out and there are charges, will you resign your position based on that betrayal?
If a court case happens and it turns out that there's a guilty verdict, the guilty person will do whatever is required by law to make that right. That's all I know. That's all I can tell you.
Okay. Okay. He answered what you asked, okay? Is there anybody on any other topic? Okay. And if there's nothing else, motion to adjourn? Oh, I apologize. I didn't see you. Sorry. I apologize.
Lisa Milkovich, Vestal resident. I too appreciate the fact that there's a lot of different perspectives here tonight. It's not as the other board meetings jammed in like sardines, tended to be one-sided. So it's nice to hear different opinions, generally respectful and responsible. My only comment tonight is that I don't pretend to understand the Bun Hill project. I'm not going to sit here and say yay or nay for it, but I will say that this town board had better be very, very responsible about our fiscal security in this town. Because you're not just talking about the SROs that are going to be affected, you're talking about services across the board and taxpayers having to pay a heck of a lot more. And I believe at the work session on Monday, if it was, there was an attorney from, was it the landowner? Sarah Campbell, who, when this issue came up in the work session about revisiting the town's position, you were told they would sue. So just be aware. We need to look at all sides of this, including, I certainly don't want my tax dollars going to pay for something that may or may not ever happen.
Yes.
And you're responsible for our fiscal safety.
Yes.
And right now, our town is in good shape, right, Mrs. Messina?
Okay, thank you. Okay. I apologize, I didn't see you before. Are there any final questions or anything else that anybody would like to say on a different topic? Okay, with that, can we have a motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
And all in favor?
Aye.
And it's carried.
And if anybody does want a comprehensive plan committee application, a hard copy, we do have them up
Yes.
here, FYI, just as a reminder.
Or we can bring them down there where it's easier for you to
Thank
get
you
them.
so much. You were great. I don't know why. Yes. No, thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, afterwards. Is that off or on? Is that a hot mic? I don't have to.